Hey everyone, Grant here from The Surface Saver. This is our latest shower tray crack repair and resurfacing video. You won't believe how the crack came about, so watch the end of the video to find out. It's an interesting one. So turn the heat up in the room where you're working. Let's get it nice and warm in there before you start, and let's get resurfacing. Okay, so here's the mystery crack that we're working on today. As usual, drill holes at either end and some in the middle to stop the crack getting any worse. Here's our repair and resurfacing kit that we're using. It's got hardener, resin, cut gloves and blade, cleaning powder, tape, filler, roller sleeve, sandpaper, roller handle, paper and stirring stick. Clean up the holes made by the drill and then pop some paper down to protect the bathroom floor. So cut away the silicone from around the edge using the blade and scrape away any residue off the tray and also off the tiles so the masking tape sticks better. Pop both pots of cleaning powder into 2 litres of warm water and swirl it around to help it dissolve. And while that's dissolving, give the shower tray a good thorough sweep. Give the tray a really good scrub in all the nooks and crannies and also the bottoms of the tiles, and then rinse really thoroughly so all the residues are washed away. Pop some paper in the bottom of a carrier bag and bag up and tape off all shower heads. The last thing you want is any drips dripping on the tray while it's curing. If you've got a squeegee the excess water down the drain, or if not, some clean dry towels will do. And once you've done that, paper dry the tray really well, getting into all the corners and also around the drain hole. Now the tray's dry, tape off around the crack, leaving about a centimetre or a ½ inch gap all the way around. And make sure the crack is fully dry before you go on to the next step. Use one of the cards to scoop out about 1/3 of the filler, and then use one of the sticks to add about a pea-size amount of hardener and mix, halve and mix, as per the close-up shot on the top left. So work the filler into the crack, pressing quite firmly to begin with, building up the layers in different directions to give it the maximum strength. If you're not confident, you might find it easier to double bank the masking tape all the way around, just keeps the mess down a little bit. So once you think you've got a decent amount of filler in there, one final gentle skim across the top and you're done. Now remove the masking tape. You might find it easier to find the edge of the masking tape using the blade. Repeat the process with a wider gap now between the masking tape and the crack. If your filler's still workable, use that, but if not, just make up some more and do a nice light wide skim right across the crack. Remove the tape as before and then just touch down any of the sharp edges and you should end up with something like this. Give the tray another dry, make sure you get into all the corners. This is super important because we're just about to do the masking tape, and also dry around the drain hole as well. So start off in one corner and work your way all the way around, leaving about a 2mm gap between the tiles and the tray. It's best to do it in one piece if you can, just makes it so much easier when it comes to taking off the tape. And lastly, leave an easy grab tab at the end. Depending on what kind of shower tray drain you have, either feed the tape around to stop the material flowing down the drain, or tape and trim as in the top right. And give the filler a quick sand to make sure there's no sharp edges. One more quick check for drips and bits before you're ready to start mixing. Add all of the hardener to the resin, position the hot air gun so it's in close proximity and start mixing. It's super important to regularly scrape the edges of the tub and the base to incorporate it all into the mixture and make sure it's mixed thoroughly. Get into a rhythm of scraping the edge, rotating the tub so everything is heated evenly and mixed thoroughly. Mix for 10 full timed minutes and you'll know when it's thoroughly mixed. It'll be the consistency of melted ice cream. If it's getting a little bit warm, move the gun away but keep it on because you want the room nice and warm so the material self-levels properly. Scrape the residue off the stick and then one final scrape around the edge to make sure it's all incorporated. Place some paper towels off to one side and move the bucket onto them, and then clean up any residue or spills that may have occurred during the mixing process. Remove and clean the stirring stick and discard, and now we're ready to start pouring. Use half cups to start off with around the edge, otherwise it can get a little bit messy, and start off in one of the furthest corners away and work your way around to one of the other corners. You can use the roller to help work the material all the way up to the tiles, or you can use one of the cards just to push the material so it's touching the tiles. Now for the big reveal. This shower tray with the mystery crack is the shower tray in my actual house. That's right, This is fitted in my actual home. You can see on the left hand side that this tray is fitted right under the wall. It would take some serious demolition work to get this tray out, but with our kit, we don't need to worry about it. It's like having a new tray without all the pain. That's no plumbing, no tiling, no worrying about leaks, no back and forth to the DIY shop for several visits, and best of all, you don't have to live without your bathroom for a week while all the demolition and rebuild work is undertaken. Keep working your way around the perimeter of the tray with half cups, and if there's any tight or tricky spots, don't be afraid to just pop a little bit on your finger and dollop it in there. Use the roller to push the resin around and help it find its level. Make sure that you're applying a really thick layer and that you're working with an excess of material. The thicker it is, the better it'll self-level. To get the perfect level, smooth shower tray, you'll want to make sure that the room is between 22 and 25 degrees for 24 hours before and 24 hours after resurfacing. Keep pouring the material around the perimeter of the tray using half cups. The paper cups are great because you can shape them and make them into a point to get into any tight corners. There's very little lip on this tray, so what I'm doing is just using the card to work the material to just get it to touch the tiles, and just as long as it's touching the tiles, the excess material will flow down and level itself. Check out the link in the description box and order your kit today. We offer fast and reliable shipping, usually next day in the UK and 2 to 3 days overseas. The next video coming soon shows how to reseal the shower tray after you've done the resurfacing using our reseal kit, and the video after that covers how to apply a non-slip application to any shower tray using our anti-slip resin kit. Now back to the resurfacing. It's a little bit awkward on the left hand side of this shower tray because there's no lip to work with, so I'm doing most of it with the card. So pour a little bit of excess material on the base of the shower tray and just moving the material up to meet the tiles. Don't worry too much about it being uneven at the base of that lip. When we pour the majority of the material, that'll all self-level nicely. You can see in this tight little corner, I'm squeezing the cup to get a really fine drizzle to get the material to cover where it needs to be. Now that we're confident that the perimeter is all fully covered, we're just going to move some of the equipment that we don't need right now and focus on the main part of the tray. Because the tray is so flat, we're just going to apply in strips and work our way across. If this was a bath or a steep-sided shower tray, you could probably get away with just pouring the majority of the material along the top edge and allow it to flow down. But we're going to give the material the maximum opportunity to self-level by just working it in strips and trying to get an even coverage. At some stage during the pour, you may be tempted to change your gloves. It's actually easier to clean your gloves with paper towel rather than change them. It can be quite awkward to get a pair of moist, sweaty hands into a fresh pair of gloves, so it's easier just to clean the ones that you've got on. The material is odourless and safe, with a VOC content of 0, so it's actually no more harmful than a standard emulsion you might get from a local DIY shop. The material cures as hard as concrete, and is specially formulated to not go yellow over time. So this is the final pour, so we're just going to move the material around, pushing it up to the edges and gently rolling it to help it find its level. So if you can hear any sticky or tacky sounds as you're rolling, you're not working with anywhere near enough material. Simply add more material and push it around to the areas where it needs to be. For a tray this size, with our standard tub, you should probably have about 1/4 of a tub left over at the end. And we're done. That took about 5 minutes. Now blast it with a hot air gun to pop any bubbles and pick out any hairs or debris that's fallen in there. Starting with the easy grab tab, remove the masking tape by pulling upwards to get a nice clean edge, and remove the masking tape all the way around, just being a little bit careful as you go into some of the awkward corners. Keep pulling and gathering until all the masking tape has been removed. You can see why it's so much easier now to do it in one piece. Keep clearing the drain with your finger or with the sticks provided every half an hour for the next couple of hours until the material has stopped moving. It might take a bit longer if you've got a mask and trim type shower tray waste, but make sure you don't remove the masking tape until you're sure that the material has stopped moving for an hour. Once it's definitely stopped moving, you can remove the masking tape and you're done. Wow, a brand new tray without the pain. You can see it's beautifully smooth, no hint of where the filler was. Let it cure for 24 hours and then seal the edge with our sealing kit and we're done. Well, you may be wondering about the mystery of the shower tray crack. Well, I thought, what better way to show how much faith we have on our own product than to take a disc cutter to my own shower tray? Well, we did, and here it is.